want to ask you all a few questions. Okay. All right? We're all nonprofit leaders, CEOs, executive directors, senior leaders. So let's just get to some truth about what's really going on in our industry. All right? So, raise your hand if this feels like you. You got a board. Great people, well-intentioned, but at some point, they decided that flying the engagement flag at half-mast was okay. Is that you? Yeah. You poke and you prod, and they give you something, and it's after a lot of poking and prodding, it's sort of like half of what you asked for in the first place. Right? And then you have donors. Hard to find, harder to keep, and the ones you have sometimes flake out. And it's frustrating for you and your development team. You got to follow up and follow up and follow up to make a gift. Anybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And then there's staff. Oh, God, I love them. Those amazing people that come in every day. And also, they're human beings, right? There's miscommunication, infighting, politics, and you may spend a lot of your time having cleanup conversations that really drag the energy out of your day. Anybody? All right. And then there's consultants like me. And you pay money to them, and they introduce new programs, they introduce plans, all kinds of new things. And they might land for a while, and then everything goes back to status quo. And you're left feeling frustrated, disappointed, maybe even a little resentful. It's okay, if that's happened to you, you can tell me. And in the middle of all of this, there's you. And no matter how difficult or disappointing all these experiences are, you get up every day and you strap that organization to your back and you go to work. Yes. And you know why you do it, right? Because those babies, those children, the unhoused, the hungry, right? The environment, the animals, they need you. You have to show up for them. Okay? And can feel a little lonely. I mean, let's be honest. Does anybody here feel a little lonely sometimes that they have to do it all themselves or it's just not going to get done? Mm-hmm. I feel you, because I see this a lot. Now, what if I told you, because there's some good news on the other side of all this doom, okay? Just hang with me, because, I'm typically a positive person. We're getting there, right? What if I told you there was one skill that you could master that would change all of this? Right? One skill, right? It would have your board saying yes the first time you ask. They might even say yes without you even asking. Donors committed, engaged, on your side. Whether you have the fancy gala or the virtual one because of COVID, heck, they'd have a dumpster fire if it benefited a cause they care about. They'd show up and give money for that, right? Those kind of donors. And staff that manages themselves effectively, gets good outcomes, is engaged and purposeful for all the right reasons. Yes? And consultants like me who come in with new projects and new ideas and want to advance your thinking, all of a sudden those things are landing. And your organization is now making inroads, making advancements, creating permanent positive change. That's what's capable with this one thing. Are you ready? This one thing is influence. What? Influence. Okay, right, because it's kind of a loaded word. Right? There's a lot of misconceptions around influence. So before I tell you what it is and how powerful it is, I'm going to tell you what it's not. What it's not is influencers, right? So you don't have to spend all your time taking duck selfies with the peace sign. That's not that kind of influence. Influence isn't manipulation, because getting people to do stuff that they don't want to do or they're not even aware that they're doing with language or tricks of the mind, that's not influence. And it's also not selling or pitching. If I just tell you this long enough and hard enough, eventually you'll wear down and do what I want. That is not influence. Let me tell you what influence is. I have a very simple definition. It's getting people that you have no authority over to do what you want them to do. Now, in all these situations I described, there's people that you have no authority over, and sometimes people you do have authority over, and you want them to do what you want them to do. When you have influence, it's like a super highway, right, of resources and energy and money and people flowing to you. No longer will you wake up every day with an organization strapped to your back. You'll feel supported. You'll feel weightless. You'll feel like all of these amazing people with good intentions are now moving in the same direction and actually getting amazing outcomes. Because that's really what we're here for, right? Yeah. We're here to serve people. Because we all could be in a whole different industry, probably making a lot more money. But we're here doing what we love because we're committed, right? And that's what influence gives you. I want to share one thing, and it's the biggest secret to having influence. I see a lot of people, and I'm one of them. I can be one of them, where I want, oh my God, if only the donors did this, or the board did this, or these people responded like that, then my life would be better. Right? I'm looking out for other people. But the secret to influence is you have to influence yourself first. It starts with you. Is if you want them to be different, you have to show up differently. At some point, you get to decide what you will and will not tolerate in your life. You get to say, enough of this, I deserve better. I get to decide what I will and will not tolerate. I get to raise my standards. And in raising those standards and creating energetic boundaries to hold those standards, all of a sudden, people are responding differently. You're using the skills of influence now because you're showing up with confidence and being of value to other people, and now they're becoming of value to you. But first, you become of value to yourself, and you own and embody your value. And when you show up in that value, people will, you don't even have to say or act anything any different. You're just showing up differently, and energetically, they respond differently. You get me? Yeah. All right. So today, lucky you, because you're all here and you're all you, right? We can't control anybody else but ourselves. And we're going to spend the day mastering the art of influence together. Whoa. Are you ready to do that? Yeah! All right, let's get started.